In today's video, I will show you exactly two things. First, live trades. I've made exactly 2 live trades with the balance we had since the first video on this account. There's just a slight difference because I moved from BullX to Axiom. Second, trading strategy. I will take these 2 trades only as a first example to show what my trading style is all about. And I hope that I can give you some value with the strategy-based video, especially because I will only show the trades I'm actually taking on this account, every single time. Because you may remember that the goal of this whole journey and the foundation of this channel is to trade a very, very small budget up to a large portfolio. Now, stop talking, let's start with the first live trades and the explanation behind them. Most of my trades, especially for the strategy we're using here today, and for about 50% of all of my trades, are in the graduated section. Not in the final stretch or in the about to graduate, depending on the exchange you're trading on, and also no new pairs. I never traded new pairs. We can definitely look at about to graduate or final stretch, as it's called here on Axiom, sooner or later, but for now, we're looking at the most reliable strategy for me, which is in the graduated section. My strategy is based on one simple principle. I look for graduated coins that are ideally, but not necessary, part of the current narrative or trend, and are not obvious rocks or massive bundles. The first trade was made with a coin called Lucky Coin. It was definitely not part of any trend or narrative at the time when I traded it. But it was a more or less legitimate coin with a decent amount of volume. When I say legit, what do I mean? I mean, are there any bundlers? If yes, how much? Usually, I would look out for something below a percentage of 15 or even 10%. This is usually my maximum. Anything way above this is a red flag and I wouldn't trade it. Next, how much are the top 10 wallets holding? I wouldn't go above 25%. Is it above 25%? I wouldn't usually trade it, especially when the coin is already quite old. When I say old, I mean at least a couple of hours old. Next, def holding. Well, we technically already filtered this with a maximum of 5%. But let's say if there's still a def holding 4% on a coin which has a market cap of 500k, I wouldn't usually trade it because this is already too much. Last thing is the liquidity burned? Usually the answer is 100% yes. The liquidity should be burned. If it's not burned, don't trade it. Right now in the first example you can see that Lucky Coin's liquidity is apparently not burned, which is usually a big red flag. But it seems like that there are currently problems on Axiom and BullX and maybe some other platforms having technical issues with identifying burned liquidity, especially when a coin is not being launched through pump.fun. Because I did my research and I tested it, and it seemed like that every single coin that is currently not being launched through pump.fun doesn't have a burned liquidity, which is technically possible but very, very unlikely. On this specific example, Lucky Coin, price action looked clean, high market cap, quite old, so I didn't look at it as a red flag. Also, I already assume that everyone who's watching knows what all these basic numbers mean. That you know how to not get rocked right away. If not, just comment and I'll do another video on this if you want to. It's time to explain the strategy. What I look for is basically a chart that reached a new all-time high. Ideally after migration, but you can basically choose any coin and I do so as well. Or even after hours and hours, and is now currently pulling back after reaching the last all-time high. Then I try to buy the pullback. First step is the pullback area. It is 50 to 75% below the latest all-time high. Some people are using Fibonacci's for this. I actually did too for a while, but this works better for me. What I do next is I look closely what happens as soon as the price enters this zone. Let's call it a golden pocket, just like on the Fibonacci. Important, I never enter on the first touch of the 50% line because it usually goes below and inside the pocket. Depending on the time frame, this was the 5-minute time frame because the coin was already several hours old, you can drop down to see if price reverses on a lower time frame. Also look at the volume. Is it increasing or dropping? Especially the 5-minute volume is very important here. In this case, and this is what I often do, enter the trade when it seems to break the 50 mark again to the upside, while having increased volume. Then I'll shoot for the next target, but usually go for 80 to 100% trades, as I already said, so about a 1.8 to a 2x. You could now ask, but isn't this too low? What about a 5x, 8x, 10x? Well, of course this could happen, but it's usually very unlikely. And why would I give away 80 to 100% profits on a trade only because I wanted a 10x that never came? But I have something for you. If you reach 100%, so a 2x, just take your initials off. Take off 50% so you're risk-free. What happens afterwards is your profit, but you can't lose anything anymore. So I don't want to make the video even longer, so let's move on to the next trade. This was a coin called Nvidia. This was actually part of a broader narrative during that session. There were a lot of coins launched named after big companies at the time, and this right here was one of the first to launch. So, same thing again. Check the details, everything's legit. Perfect. Right after migration, it made its pullback from 200k to around 100k. By the way, 100k is a very important area. As a first retest, it's always a strong support. To these numbers, 100k, 250k, 500k, 1 million. We can talk about this in the next video. Price bounced right in the middle of my golden pocket only with a wick. So I had to be a bit quicker. And got right in. My target was slightly different here, because I wanted a fast profit and there was a big order block which is marked with the purple box. And there I took my profit for slightly over 40%. Between these two trades were about 45 minutes and the session was about 1.5 hours long. Now you could say, yeah, but you only made a couple of dollars because of your low budget trades. Well, yes, but it's not about the money P&L wise, it's about percentages. If you have decent and constant profits percentage wise, then your budget doesn't really matter. If you have 0.1 Solana, 5 or 100 Solana, it will grow and scale, which is the purpose of all of this and the general purpose of trading and more generally of making money. I really hope you enjoyed it so far and you're ready for the next videos and also everything that's coming. If you're interested, you're always better in a group of like-minded people in this space. So I would like to create something for all the people who would like to join and trade together, because we can all profit from each other here. Leave a comment if you'd be interested. On top of that, there will be a second challenge started, but only in a YouTube short version, of trading up an account for mainly large cap cryptos, because probably all of you are not trading meme coins or just don't want to trade meme coins all the time, but more on that soon. If you like what I do, don't forget to subscribe, and until then, preserve your capital, my dear viewers, and I'll be soon back with the next episodes.